Well, Richard, thanks for joining me here at the LSI Spotlight. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing.
Well, I'm the CEO and co-founder of ImageBiopsy Lab. We are a Vienna-based medical SaaS company, and we are focusing on a very exclusive vertical within the medical space. It's musculoskeletal imaging diagnostics. And as CEO, I'm responsible mostly for our investor outreach, but also to really shape the strategy and mission of our company.
Tell me a little bit about what sort of problem you're trying to solve at Image Biopsy.
Well, if you look at orthopedics or radiology, right, these physicians handle a large number of patients. And among that patient group is one of the largest, actually, those which have, pain and issues with their, joints, bones, basically. And you look at these kind of like patient population, which is about 50% of the adult population in the US, actually. That population comes and see doctors quite regularly. And what they've always do as a first step is to take an image, an X-ray, right, CT and MR. And we've been focusing on that particular aspect of the medical kind of like workflow where we say we look at these images and try to support the physician in that particular instance.
Interesting. What is your technology doing that's maybe different or better than what's being done today?
Well, when we look at how physicians read and interpret images, it's pretty much like we've done it, I would say, almost 100 years ago. We look at it manually, right? We take it, we look at it on the screen, and we then derive certain medical kind of like insights out of that. And our mission here really is to build software which is, based on deep learning, AI, to really kind of like support the physician that workflow, to provide additional insights, which kind of like, is right now done manually, but can be done or supported by a software. So the physician has actually more time to focus on what's important in the workflow, which is the patient.
How much time are you saving physicians and healthcare in general with your technology? I imagine that the radiology process does take time when it's done manually. So what does AI add?
Well, that is something which is a very interesting question, actually. And when you look at the medical, stakeholders, and again, we address from radiology to orthopedic surgery to the CRO market, different stakeholders have different kind of like, workflows. So when you look at the pure productivity gain on the radiology side, we save up to 90% of reading time when it comes down to MSK imaging. And then, of course, when you look beyond that, hospital administrators, orthopedic surgeons, our software also supports certain decisions which may or may not have an impact on what treatment you may take down the road.
Where is Image Biopsy at right now in terms of its commercial stage? Or, are you still in development? Are you guys in market already?
We are in the market for now 2.5 years, as we are based in Austria, which is a fairly small market, obviously. We decided to really focus on that market, to really learn, understand how to deploy such a software in the medical workflow, which is usually the most complex part. The development of the software is quite easy, but then bringing it to the end user and making the end user happy is usually what is the challenging part. So we did a very good job here. We have about 180 installations, 55 paying customers throughout Europe. We have 4 CE cleared product, 1 FDA cleared one, and are expanding from, the main body parts to other body parts, connecting all these different, modules to one holistic approach in the MSK space.
What comes next for Image Biopsy now that you're already in hospitals, you've got customers? What's the next stage for Image Biopsy look like?
Well, we are at this stage focusing mostly on the productivity gains, right? So saving time, making more efficient, standardizing. What we are focusing right now very strongly on is to support the physician and the hospital administrator to justify certain treatment options and to even predict if certain treatment options are necessary. Think of, whether or not you need a hip surgery. Is it the right time to do a hip surgery? These kind of things are the next steps in our kind of like product vision.
I believe I read on your website that you guys are also in the oncology space as well. Could you talk about that a little bit?
This is kind of like one of our moonshots, so to speak, where we actually look at detecting certain abnormalities which are connected to bone cancer, for example, on X-rays. We had here first project where we compared X-ray to PET-CT, for example. We had a ground truth and then try to see if we can detect these findings, which we found on a PET CT, also on X-ray. We had fairly good results, and we are working towards that as one of the next or third or fourth step to actually bring that to the end user as an additional tool.
So tell me a little bit about how you sell at Image Biopsy. How do you get your product to physicians, to hospitals?
Well, at this stage, it's mostly a direct sales approach. So we usually go out there, meet our key opinion leaders, discuss with our software, the benefits, right? What needs to be done better. And then from there on, actually, it becomes almost like a snowball effect where, one side is using it, other side is hearing about it, and then they become interested in it. And then again, we meet up with them, and then, kind of like install the software there. And from there on, it's a step-by-step approach at this stage. Down the road, if you look forward, a year, 2 years from now, there are scale-up partners which are focusing mostly on the infrastructure side within hospital networks. They actually focus on bringing AI to the end user, and those are our partners which we kind of focus on in the mid to long term, because they are at the customer side, they install the software, and we are basically piggybacking, bringing our software on their platform, and then they deliver that to the end user.
Could you talk a little bit about EMR or PACS integration? I know that's definitely a pain point in the US. How does image biopsy play with other technologies out there?
That's an excellent question, and this is really something which is kind of like a make it or break it kind of like thing, right, in that industry. For us, as we have done lots of direct installation initially, we have a fairly good and solid understanding how to integrate into PACS EMR systems. It's almost like how it is, but then again, the last few miles is always a surprise, as you can imagine, probably. But I think this is very important. This is zero-click installation from our end, so the user doesn't even know that we are installed. It's just here when he or she needs it, basically. When they open the study. I guess down the road is tied back to my previous, your previous question about, integration scale up, is that there will be companies which we focus only on bringing AI vendors and platforms into the hospital network, and that's kind of where we're going to focus on in the long run.
What does the total addressable market look like for a technology such as image biopsies?
Well, for that to assess, you got to consider that the market is huge. Right? On a global scale, there are about 1.7 billion patients suffering from MSK diseases. And we looked at the market, we assessed different market segments, what the price points would be, and we came to the conclusion that this is, on a global scale, a market where it is somewhere between 5 to 10 billion annually, depending if you include markets like China. But if you really look at Europe and the US by itself, it is about a 5 billion annual market opportunity, which we are addressing.
That's exciting. Is there anything else you want to share with us about what your company is doing?
Well, what I'm very much excited about is that when I look at, for example, my own family history, I have in my family, relatives who actually suffered, from knee osteoarthritis. Mm-hmm. And these patients, these relatives actually went and see quite a number of doctors and were convinced to go into surgery, knee surgery. It didn't really help the knee. It just made it worse. It also affected the hip now, until there was actually a doctor which connected knee to hip and realized that the pain doesn't come from the knee, it comes from a leg length difference, which is one of our products, actually, one of our solutions. And by seeing that, I thought, eventually one day, I will be hopefully benefiting from such solutions, because we all get older, we all get, obviously slower when we get old. And so I want to end that interview really bringing home that point to say, like, we are not trying to make someone faster or save a few, euros here and there. It's really to develop something which you and I and all of you guys actually can benefit down the road.
That's great. What brings you to LSI this year? This is our first conference here in Europe. It's my understanding this is your first LSI conference. So what are you trying to achieve right now?
Yeah, so we are here to meet investors, present our technology. We were actually informed by a colleague who attended LSI in the US previously. And it is an excellent conference. And I have to say also that so far we're very excited in terms of the meetings we got confirmed. So this is really cool for us to be here. And we're very excited. Next 2 days are going to be very busy. We also have a presentation here. So this is very exciting to be here. And hopefully also for next time you organize LSI to be also again here on that chair and having a conversation with you.
Maybe we bring it to Austria.
I'd love to.
Richard, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.